Hi! This is a completely different video from what you're used to, I guess, right? I mean, the past few months there was only Subnautica, but at the moment I don't really have time to, well, start such a series. As you know, I am doing an internship at the moment. And you know what? I wanted to always find out if I have ADHD. Attention Deficit Hyperactivity Disorder, I think it's called. It was just something that was on my mind, and I figured, you know what? Before I just do this and then I'm done with it, might as well record it, because why not? I don't even know exactly why I wanted to test myself for ADHD, and this test here on ADHDuk.co definitely is not like the perfect thing. You should definitely check out a doctor if you're really concerned about it, but this helps you figure out if you have symptoms of ADHD and if you should go to a doctor to actually get yourself checked out. So shout outs to all the ADHD people who are watching my videos. Maybe I'm part of y'all. I don't know. We will find out today. So I have no clue how long this is. I haven't read the questions or anything, so let's just get right into it. How often do you have trouble wrapping up the final details of a project once the challenging parts have been done? A hard question from the get-go. Interesting. It really 100% depends on the project, I'd say. Final details. Wrapping up final details for me is also finally finishing the last details. For me, very, very often when I have a project and I do something, I find details and I fix them in code, for example, or I make something prettier, and then I'm like, well, I could do this, and I do that as well, and then I could do this, and then it's this endless cycle of, well, I could make this better, I could make that better. So I'd say sometimes, because in some instances, definitely. In others, I'm just happy when I'm done with it. How often do you have difficulty getting things in order when you have to do a task that requires organization? These are such specific questions for unspecified tasks. Very hard to answer them. But I think organizing myself, I don't have too many problems. Like, I take notes, I write scripts, whatever. Scripts is the wrong word, but let's say rarely, because I think I still have this, but not as much. How often do you have problems remembering appointments or obligations? If I don't write them down, often. So I have to actually write them down. But when I have written them down, and I see them every so often on my phone, for example, then I don't have it as much. So sometimes. When you have a task that requires a lot of thought, how often do you avoid or delay getting started? A lot of thought. Also, sometimes it's hard because it really depends. I already see that this test will say, well, you might or you might not, because I'm clicking sometimes all the time. Oh no. How often do you feel overly active and compelled to do things like you are driven by a motor? Well, often actually. I like doing things. It doesn't matter if it's outside, inside, computer related, not computer related. As you know, I'm a student that uses the computer a lot for tasks and for work as well. So yeah, let's say often. Oh, I forgot to answer a question. Oh, thank you. How often do you fidget or squirm with your hands or feet when you have to sit down for a long time? Often. I actually do this a lot. Like, I do this, or I crack my knuckles, or I tap my foot, or whatever. It's interesting. Like, if I don't have my hands on like something and just hold on to something or whatever, then very, very often my hands are very fidgety. How often do you make careless mistakes when you have to work on a boring or difficult project? Careless mistakes? I don't think I do. I think I make mistakes when I'm trying to work too fast. Especially when I'm very bored of the project. I don't really put too much heart in it. And sometimes mistakes happen. So yeah, sometimes. How often do you have difficulty keeping your attention when you are doing boring or repetitive work? Often, I'd say. When I'm very bored out of my mind and I don't want to do specific things, then I love getting distracted by things. So sometimes I'm doing it myself and sometimes it just happens. So yeah. How often do you have difficulty concentrating on what people say to you, even when they are speaking to you directly? Not very often. So rarely. I would say I'm a pretty good listener. How often do you misplace or have difficulty finding things at home or at work? All the time. It happens so often. Like, very often I don't think I should click, because it's not that I'm misplacing like everything, but I misplace things pretty often. And then I have to mentally go back to, okay, I was here, I did this, that type of thing. How often are you distracted by activity or noise? Well, the thing is, so often people outside of my window on the street are honking, which is ridiculous because I won't start a rant, but yeah, it's ridiculous anyway. So I very, very often get up and like check out why they honk, just want to know kind of thing. So that happens quite frequently, but otherwise I can very much concentrate. I listen to music while working too, so yeah, probably because honking I think is the only real thing that distracts me sometimes, and it's only because I'm mad. I would say it's rarely. Yeah. How often do you leave your seat in meetings or other situations in which you are expected to remain seated? Oh, never. That I don't ever do. Yeah. How often do you feel restless or fidgety? Depending on the situation again. So sometimes, yeah. How often do you have difficulty unwinding and relaxing when you have time to yourself? Rarely, I'd say. Like when I get home from work, I usually eat something and I watch YouTube while I do that. And it's not very hard for myself to relax and to just chill, I guess. What is very hard and difficult for me is to just lay down, like to just do nothing, basically. That's pretty hard for me. How often do you find yourself talking too much when you are in social situations? Often, actually. I'm yapping right now all the time, so yeah, often. When you are in conversation, how often do you find yourself finishing the sentence of the people you're talking to before they can finish them themselves? I do this quite frequently. It annoys the crap out of myself, but I still do it. I hate it, but I do it still. So yeah, it happens all the time. How often do you have difficulty waiting your turn in situations when turn taking is required? Again, it depends on the situation. Like when it's talking, sometimes I just want to get my point across, so I try to kind of swerve in there, but otherwise I'm quite good with it. So yeah, how often do you interrupt others when they are busy? Oh, I usually ask if they have time, and if they say no, then I don't interrupt them, so probably rarely. Oh, that's it? Is that already it? Okay. That's a short test, but I don't mind. Section A, a score of 4 or more indicates that... Oh, 4. Yes. A score of 4 or more indicates that the patient has symptoms highly consistent with ADHD in adults, and further investigation is warranted. And 4 for Section B. Results for Section B are not used directly in diagnosis, but are instead used to help inform the conversation with your clinician. Oh. Okay, so score of 4 or more indicates, and I have a score of 4. So that probably means I could have it, but it's not as big. I don't know. I don't know. But yeah, interesting. Is there another one? I'm wondering. Okay, I'm on clinicalpartners.co. 12 questions, also not a whole lot. Let's answer those. Let's see if we get a similar result. Why not? It's always good to have several sources. So question 1, I find it difficult finishing a task or project. The difficulty isn't in finishing per se, but in like not being able to stop working on it, which is the same thing, let's be honest. So yeah, I always want to make it better and better and better, so that's why it's difficult to finish it actually. So yeah, let's say often. Maybe I did this wrong on the other one. Whatever. I find it difficult to organize myself or a task. Yeah, if I'm bored, again, if I'm bored or whatever, if I don't want to do what I did, or, you know. I find it difficult to remember appointments. Sometimes, we have this question. If a task or project requires a lot of thought, I will often delay in getting it started. I don't remember what I said here, but yeah, if a task requires a lot of thought, will I delay it? Yeah, sometimes, I guess. I find it difficult to sit still and often fidget or squirm. Yeah. Even when I watch YouTube, I can demonstrate that actually. I oftentimes like change my sitting position. I heard it's very good for your body if you change sitting positions every so often. But yeah, I guess I can't sit still. I would describe myself as being on the go and feel compelled to do things as if driven by a motor. We had that before and I sit often. I find it hard to remain focused in group settings. I think it all depends on the group setting. Like if I'm not part of the group, if they're just talking, then it's very hard for me to focus. Like I am a good listener and I can focus on that, but if I don't focus on listening, then I'm lost kind of. So yeah, sometimes. My mind feels very cluttered and it is hard for me to concentrate on one thing at a time. Yes, I have so many things on my mind. Movies, for example, or movie theories, projects that I'm working on or that I want to work on, work-related things, university-related things. So many things are in my head, and it's hard to concentrate on only one thing. Now, I make decisions quickly and fail to think through the consequences. No, rarely. I sometimes do this, but not very often. So yeah, rarely, not sometimes. I'm often irritable with a short fuse. Yeah, depending on the situation, it can be. I have mood swings, sometimes feeling quite high, other times low. Yeah, I can have a very good day at work and then all of a sudden the train is delayed by 20 minutes or whatever and I don't catch the next train that comes after that. Yeah, that can ruin my day. Even though the entire day was great, that kind of thing can ruin my day. So, okay, last question. I often miss what is being said to me in conversations. Rarely. Not very often. Ah, interesting. Yeah, so just like the thing before, starting at 4, there is a chance of you having ADHD, and this is low to medium probability, almost at the high probability. So, yeah, I like this showing of that. That's pretty cool. Yeah. So to be honest, I am not very informed. Who would have thought? I don't know a whole lot about ADHD. I just know that it's very difficult to handle at times for those who have it. And I think it's quite interesting that both of these websites said that you should go to a doctor to get yourself diagnosed that can help you. I'm not quite sure what that actually means. Okay? But yeah, it's interesting that both of these tests say that I might have ADHD. I guess that's the video, guys. I don't know. I might make a video on Agatha All Along, the new Marvel series. Today is the 25th of October. When I'm uploading it, it will be the Wednesday after. That means that Agatha All Along, the last two episodes, will release the day after, and I might have enough time to talk about it because it's a super good show. It's a very, very good show, and I have thoughts about it, and I kind of want to review it just like I Am Groot. I dislike that show. So yeah, if you are interested in my review of that, check it out. It should be linked over there. And I might put it into the description as well. Anyway, I wish you guys a great day, and I hope you like this video. Yeah, let's see when the next one will be there, or will be up. My brain. Too many things happening. Take care, guys.